Welcome back to SmokeHouse and the Cannabis History Series. Today is episode number 1, Cannabis and the Stone Age. Now, before we get started, I'll just let you know that you'll find in the description links to the resources that I use for this episode specifically. Now, going right into it. Scientists believe that cannabis, or at least the cannabis that we know, evolved in northern China at the dawn of civilization itself. So it's been around for quite some time. However, it is also thought to be one of the, if not the first cultivated fiber plant, if not the first cultivated plant, period. So the earliest known archaeological evidence that we have of hemp, or at least hemp being used, is about 10,000 BC in China. They discovered pottery with just little bit of remnants of hemp on the cord of the pottery. And then the thing that mattered even more so than that little cord was actually a rod-shaped stone beater that they believed that they used to pound hemp. Now that's really cool because that's about 12,000 years ago. And I believe that the consensus is that agriculture really started around 10,000 BC. I find that very interesting. It kind of gives credibility a little bit to seeing it as one of the first cultivated plants. Now, in the same article, I read that they believe that the Chinese are actually the first to have invented hemp paper and the first to have used it for things like fishing nets, ropes, etc. Now, the consensus is that they believe that they use this hemp for 3 main reasons: fibers, seeds, and also oil. They use the seeds possibly for food. They use the oil for probably medicinal reasons or religious reasons. And then also the fibers they could have used to make rope, clothes, what have you. Now, the first evidence that we have found of hemp weaved fabric, as in like cloth or clothing, is actually found in Turkey. It was in a burial site that dates back to about 7,000 BC, and it was wrapped around a baby's skeleton, and it was a cloth wrapped around that baby. It's actually also one of the most well-preserved evidences that we have of cloth, even going up to 6,000 years into the future. You can go on and hit that link that I have in my description, and you can see images of these. It's pretty cool and pretty neat. I found this all very interesting that we actually have evidence going back this far. I mean, when I was telling you guys about doing this, I had hit about 3,000 BC. Now digging, I found all the way going back about 10,000 BC. It's amazing and interesting at how much you can find just doing your own research. Now, doing this research, I actually learned more about somebody I had only heard of, and that is Carl Sagan. He was an astrophysicist, I believe, but Carl Sagan was an avid supporter of cannabis. He wrote essays under a fake name, Mr. X, but they're fascinating to read. We found out that he wrote these essays after he died. The quote I have at the beginning of my video is actually from Carl Sagan, if you noticed. I am finding him very interesting and learning so much about him. But the reason I bring him up in this video right now, because of his book, Dragons of Eden from 1977. In it, he makes the hypothesis, or he just wonders whether or not cannabis was a direct result of humans wanting to do agriculture, and therefore a direct result of civilizations rising in societies and cities. This was very interesting to me, and it made a lot of sense, especially when you think about what cannabis can actually do for you on a psychological level, on a mental level. You don't even need to take it in high abundance. You can take it seldomly in small amounts, and it can do so much for your mind. Carl Sagan's actually figured this out. He wrote so many essays that he actually used in all of his works, he said, while he was high on cannabis. It really opened his mind, and he really goes into descriptive words on what the high was like and what it felt to him and what he thinks it's doing. I found this all very fascinating. However, right at the end of the Stone Age is really when things start to pick up with our history of cannabis. There's so much that really starts to pick up around 3000 BC. So I can't wait to get that out to you. Unfortunately, that's going to have to wait for next episode though. Now, to review what we've learned in today's episode of Cannabis in the Stone Age. 1, cannabis evolved in North China at the dawn of civilization. 2, cannabis is thought to be one of, if not the first cultivated plant. 3, first archaeological evidence found around 10,000 BC in China. 4. Chinese are believed to make the first hemp paper. 5. Cannabis was believed to be used for fiber, oil, and seeds. 6. We find our first actual archaeological evidence of hemp woven fabric in 7000 BC. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this episode almost as much as I enjoyed researching and filming it. And if you enjoyed this video or you learned anything that you didn't know, please leave a like and leave a comment and let me know what you learned or something that I left out. Please let me know. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to stay up to date with new videos coming out, especially on the history of cannabis, please hit that bell button so you can be notified as soon as they are released. And now, as always, Jay is going to go smoke a J.